It's 13 minutes to 8 o'clock on this Monday morning. It is morning news today. Good morning if you've just joined us. Now, the latest trend these days, stressed and depressed children. Doctors say the fast pace of modern life is affecting the mental health of little ones. They say Generation Alpha is suffering from a lack of quality free time, with many children playing less than the generation before. Now, doctors are prescribing more playtime for these kids. To tell us more, we're joined by Trends Translator Bronwyn Williams to talk to us about this. Bronwyn, morning. And a stressed generation, Generation Alpha. Just from what we know, what are our kids going through at the moment? What is on their mind?
Well, what we see is that smaller and smaller children are really being forced into a career as young as 3 or 4 years old. I mean, primary school now starts at grade 000, which is the year that you turn 4. So these children have very, very choreographed lives. They go to school, they're then shuttled on to some sort of extramural activity, they're going to extra engineering or maths classes even before they're reaching primary school these days. And because of that, in addition to the fact that more and more parents are dual income households where the mother and the father works, and children are then put into aftercare programs and spend a lot of time commuting to and from all these different programs they go to, they're just not having enough time to play. And play is very important for childhood development, not only in a social regard, in that it's essential for people to build relationships through play and through actually spending time in an unstructured environment to learn your place in society, in the pack, so to speak. It also means they're not spending time outdoors, and they're not spending time in creative pursuits where they get to use their creativity and their imagination, because their lives are so thoroughly scheduled. And
playtime doesn't necessarily mean sitting in front of a screen playing a video game. They need to be doing what, well, some of us did ages and ages ago. Hopscotch and whatever it is that we did outside.
Yes, there's so many different benefits, from the mental benefits from imagination and creativity to just the physical benefits of actually running around outside rather than sitting on the couch. I mean, we see now nursery school teachers are saying children have low muscle tone, they've got to go to physios. And all of these are completely preventable problems that could be solved just by letting children be children.
So, is it necessarily that parents have the biggest part to play in this? Are we saying that parents are creating stressed children? Or is it just the entire community that we're living in? What is causing this?
I would say it's society as a whole. I would say it's so competitive today, and parents are very afraid that children are going to be left behind. If your neighbour's child already is going to Little Engineers Club, for example, and your child is still just playing with Barbies or trucks at home, you're going to feel a lot of societal pressure to start scheduling those activities into your child's life so they don't get left behind. Then we get to school level and we see the children are reading and doing maths younger and younger, and it's difficult for those little ones to do that, and you're having to put more and more extramural classes and extra lessons in place in order just to make sure that your child doesn't be left behind. So yes, parents have a role to play in this, but it's also schools and society as a whole that are putting so much pressure onto these small children that they're ending up stressed and depressed before they can even tie their own shoelaces.
I mean, isn't it sad that you have to prescribe playtime? And I'm just looking at an article here. There's a happiness class curriculum in New Delhi's public schools. That's in India. That you actually have to make space for happiness and playtime. I mean, what is that saying about our society? How do we take it back? And it is taking it back, all those steps, so that we can move forward, because we live in a world where it's constantly, you've got to progress, you've got to compete, it's a world of technology. How do we as parents just become mindful of this and be able to pull back a little bit? Well,
I know the conversation we're having now is about small children, Generation Alpha, those under 10s, but this really has ripple effects throughout the whole of society. We are hearing more and more in your wellness space about we need to make space for self-care at all ages in our lives. And what we're finding is that people need permission to give themselves that self-care, to recharge and to rejuvenate. And we're having to give that permission even to our children, and to give that permission to parents to let their children just be children. Parents are under such a lot of stress themselves to try to be the perfect parents, to give their children every opportunity possible. And what we're finding now is that they are now relying on doctors to give them that permission to say, yes, you can let your child just be a child for half an hour a day. And once you get that permission slip, that script for play from your doctor, you then feel okay with letting your child just do nothing, because we feel guilty as adults for sitting around or reading a book or lying by the pool.
And what's the effect that we're seeing on the household itself, on the family as a whole?
I think we're seeing huge relationship problems there. We're seeing huge factors of stress in parents, particularly with regard to homework in schools. So we saw there was that one school in Cape Town, Sun Valley Primary, who stopped homework altogether in 2015 because they were saying their small little primary school children were just completely overwhelmed with the work they had. They'd go home and work for another 3 hours. The parents didn't have any time to relax. So this pressure and stress is really throughout the whole society unit. But the good news is places like Sun Valley Primary, who have seen that getting rid of homework actually increases academic results.
Wow.
And children that spend more time in free play, in free solitary play, actually do go on to have pronounced academic success compared to children who have overscheduled lives.
Fantastic. Best bit of advice. Best prescription I've seen in a long time. Thank you very much. That's Trends Translator, Bronwyn Williams.